The cheers were already deafening. 10,000 fans packed into Sobe Stadium, the Filipino flags waving, the chants of Eala, Eala, echoing through the night. But just when the crowd thought the night couldn't get any bigger, a black Mercedes-Benz pulled up, and the person who stepped out left the entire Canadian Open stunned. The moment her second-round match was announced, the tickets vanished in just 30 minutes. Not for a Grand Slam champion. Not for a former world number one. For a 21-year-old from Manila who has turned a tennis tournament into a Filipino festival. The National Bank Open in Toronto had never seen anything like it. Tournament director Carl Hale, a man who has orchestrated some of the biggest events in Canadian tennis history, was left stunned by the demand. "We've never seen a player ranked outside the top 5 have this type of effect," Hale told reporters. "I think her fans were specifically waiting to see when she played." The numbers tell a story of unprecedented demand. Around 3,100 tickets were purchased immediately after Eala's opening match was announced, and by Sunday, every available seat for Wednesday night's session had been sold. But here's what made this even more remarkable. Eala wasn't scheduled to play on the main court. The organizers had initially placed her match on the grandstand, a secondary venue with just 2,800 seats. That decision was quickly overturned. "Our grandstand court is 2,800 seats. We can't put her on there because she probably sold upwards of 5,000 tickets," Hale told the Tennis Channel. The organizers had no choice but to move Eala to center court, the main stadium of Sobe Stadium, which holds 12,500 spectators. This was where the biggest stars played. Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka had already appeared on that court earlier in the tournament. Now, Eala was being treated like a star the tournament had built its schedule around. The decision was announced just hours before the match. Eala's match was scheduled to follow home favorite Leylah Fernandez's match against Renata Zarazua. It was a primetime slot reserved for the tournament's biggest draws. Hale acknowledged the historic nature of the sellout, noting that Eala's popularity transcends the traditional tennis audience. "Alex is an absolute blessing to the sport of tennis at our tournament," Hale said. "So it's an amazing tournament to have her here playing singles and doubles with Venus Williams." He revealed just how unprecedented the demand was. "Our stadium has 10,077 seats, and the Filipino community for months now has been calling in, asking when does she play? Who does she play? Where does she play? My mother knows her uncle, sister's brother, cousin. They were so excited to have her." Eala herself was overwhelmed by the reception before she even stepped onto the court. "Yes, I've been told that it's going to be a full house tomorrow, so I'm really very excited to see and experience the atmosphere," Eala said in her pre-tournament press conference. "It's nice to see that the Filipino community is really showing up and they're enjoying tennis. Hopefully it will help grow the sport as well, and in the end give them a new experience, a joyful experience." "It's been a crazy 24 hours, Eala said, describing the whirlwind of winning her first WTA title and immediately transitioning to Toronto. "My mind's just been going back and forth between focusing on the next match and, wow, did I really just do that?" The stage was set, the crowd was coming, and Alex Eala was about to step onto center court in front of a sold-out stadium, something that had only been achieved by one other player in the last 20 years, a player named Serena Williams. The Eala Effect had officially arrived in Toronto, and it wasn't just about ticket sales. It was about a cultural phenomenon that was transforming the National Bank Open into something the tournament had never seen before. The numbers were staggering. According to tournament director Carl Hale, the 10,077-seat Sobe Stadium sold out for Eala's debut within 30 minutes of her match being announced. The Filipino community for months now has been calling in, asking when does she play? Who does she play? Where does she play? My mother knows her uncle, sister's brother, cousin. They were so excited to have her, Hale told BCBN. But the sellout wasn't just about the size of the stadium. It was about who was filling it. Jason Maglante, Tennis Canada's Senior Director of Ticket Sales and Services, projected that 8 out of 10 fans could be of Filipino heritage. That's more than 8,000 people in a stadium of 10,077. A demographic shift that caught everyone by surprise. The demand was so overwhelming that organizers had to make a decision they had never made before. Eala's match was originally scheduled for the grandstand, a secondary venue with just 2,800 seats. But after she sold upwards of 5,000 tickets, Hale was forced to move her to center court. We've never seen a player ranked outside the top 5 have this type of effect, Hale admitted. Hale, who had been running the Canadian Open for nearly 2 decades, called Eala an absolute blessing to the sport of tennis at our tournament. He told reporters, "It's an amazing tournament to have her here playing singles and doubles with Venus Williams." The tournament adapted in ways no one expected. For the first time in tournament history, traditional Filipino dishes were added to the food offerings. Chicken adobo was served at the changeover kitchen, replacing their chicken teriyaki rice bowl for the day. The dish was priced at CAD 17, approximately $7.30. Hale admitted the move was extraordinary. "It's the first time I've ever heard of a tournament halfway through adding a food offering just because of a player." A Filipino flag was also displayed at the food stall as several of Eala's supporters flocked in support of the rising star. Journalist and former tennis player Don Castillejo was seen trying the rice bowl. The gesture was small, but it spoke volumes about the cultural phenomenon unfolding in Toronto. The Eala Effect wasn't just about the crowds. It was about the atmosphere. The chants of "Eala! Eala!" echoed through the night. The flags waved. The energy was electric. And Eala herself was moved by what she saw. In her post-match interview, she greeted the crowd in Tagalog. "Musta kayo, Toronto? Iwagay nyong gaang bandila ninyo." Patting in. She then added, "So many Filipinos in the crowd tonight, so many flags. Thank you. Kaya proud na proud ako na maging Pinoy. Maraming salamat, mga kababayan. Mahal ko kayong lahat." Eala had arrived in Toronto. The Eala Effect was in full force, and the tennis world was witnessing something it had never seen before. The match was over. Alex Eala had just avenged her Australian Open loss to Alicia Parks with a gritty 6-1, 4-6, 6-2 victory, advancing to the 3rd round of the Canadian Open. But the real show was about to begin. The stadium microphone was handed to her. The 10,077 fans packed into Sobeys Stadium fell silent. And what came next left the entire arena roaring with pride. "Kumusta tayong ngayon, Toronto?" Eala shouted into the microphone, her voice filled with pure joy. Then came the words that would echo across social media and captivate a nation. "Iwagay niyo nga yung mga bandila niyo, patingin." The response was immediate. Hundreds of Philippine flags shot up across the stadium, transforming the Canadian arena into a sea of red, blue, white, and yellow. The crowd erupted in thunderous cheers that seemed to shake the very foundations of the venue. Switching to English, Eala acknowledged the overwhelming support. "There are so many Filipinos in the crowd tonight. So many flags. Thank you. I am eternally grateful. I just came off Washington, so I really feel like this is a celebration." But it was what she said next that brought the house down. A heartfelt message delivered in Tagalog that reached every Filipino watching, whether in Toronto, Manila, or anywhere in between. "Alam niyo mga kababayan, linggo-linggo ko kayong nakikita, sinusuport aso, linggo-linggo kong nakikita kung gaano ninyo kamahal ang kapwa ninyo Pinoy," Eala said. "Kaya proud na proud ako maging Pinoy. Maraming salamat mga kababayan, mahal ko kayong lahat." The crowd exploded once again. It was more than just a victory speech. It was a celebration of identity, of heritage, of a community that had shown up in force to support one of their own. For the thousands of Filipinos in attendance, many of whom had traveled from across the greater Toronto area, hearing their heroes speak their language, acknowledging their presence and their love, was a moment they would never forget. Earlier, ABS-CBN reporter Don Castillejo had captured the energy building before the match. The Filipino fans were in full voice, chanting, "Eala, Eala," in unison. When asked if Canada was ready for Eala, the crowd responded with a resounding, "Yes!" The tournament's social media team had already declared, "Eala Mania has landed in Toronto," posting a video of her entrance to center court with thunderous cheers filling the background. Eala's emotional post-match interview was a declaration of pride that transcended tennis. She made it clear, wherever she plays, she carries the Philippines with her. And the thousands of fans in the stands, waving flags and cheering until their voices gave out, were proof that she was never alone. The night was already unforgettable. 10,000 fans packed into Sobe Stadium, the Philippine flags waving in every section, the chants of "Eala! Eala!" echoing through the venue. Eala had just delivered a masterclass against Alicia Parks, avenging her Australian Open loss with a gritty 6-1, 4-6, 6-2 victory. Her post-match interview had already brought the house down with her emotional words. Proud na proud na proud na proud ako maging Pinoy. But just when the crowd thought the night couldn't get any bigger, a black Mercedes-Benz pulled up. And the person who stepped out left the entire Canadian Open stunned. The German automaker had just launched a historic global partnership with the WTA earlier that week, becoming the official automotive partner of the Women's Tennis Association and the National Bank Open. As part of this agreement, Mercedes-Benz was providing a fleet of vehicles including the GLC, GLE, and GLS SUVs to transport athletes and select guests between hotels, practice courts, and tournament facilities. The brand was also displaying several vehicles across the tournament grounds, including the new all-electric CLA and the electric G580. But the presence of a Mercedes-Benz VIP at Eala's match signaled something more. This wasn't just a sponsorship activation. This was a statement. The automaker had recognized that Eala wasn't just a rising star, she was a global phenomenon, and they wanted to be part of it. The decision to personally attend Eala's match was a testament to her growing influence. The automaker had already been leveraging its WTA partnership to connect with women's tennis and its fans. Eala had recently been recognized on Forbes' 30 Under 30 Asia list, further cementing her status as a global influencer. Now, a luxury automaker was making the journey to Toronto to witness her brilliance firsthand. Alex Matthews, Vice President of Digital, Public Relations and Marketing at Mercedes-Benz Canada, had spoken about the brand's vision earlier in the week. The National Bank Open provides us with the ideal setting to introduce our global WTA partnership to Canadian fans. But the presence of a VIP at Eala's match suggested that the automaker had already identified the face of their new partnership. The arrival of the Mercedes-Benz VIP sent a ripple of excitement through the stadium. Fans who had already been celebrating Eala's victory now had another reason to cheer. The tournament organizers, who had already made unprecedented accommodations for Eala, including moving her match to center court, adding chicken adobo to the menu, and scheduling her doubles match with Venus Williams on center court, could only watch in amazement as another corporate giant joined the Eala bandwagon. Eala herself was reportedly unaware of the VIP's presence until after the match. But when she learned that a Mercedes-Benz representative had personally attended to watch her play, the significance of the moment wasn't lost on her. She had gone from being a young girl watching tennis on television to being a player that global corporations were flying across the world to see. The Mercedes-Benz surprise was a powerful reminder of just how far Alex Eala had come, and it signaled that the Eala Effect had officially reached the corporate world. The Mercedes-Benz VIP had come and gone. The flags had been waved. The chants had echoed through the night. But what remained was something far more significant than a single moment of corporate recognition. Alex Eala had transcended tennis. What does it mean when a luxury automaker sends a VIP to watch your match? It means you are no longer just a player. It means you are a brand. It means your influence extends far beyond the baseline. Mercedes-Benz had just launched a historic global partnership with the WTA, becoming the official automotive partner of the Women's Tennis Association. The automaker was providing a fleet of vehicles to transport athletes, displaying electrified models across the tournament grounds, and launching interactive fan experiences. Alex Matthews, Vice President of Digital, Public Relations and Marketing at Mercedes-Benz Canada, had called the National Bank Open the ideal setting to introduce our global WTA partnership to Canadian fans. But the VIP's presence at Eala's match signaled something more. This wasn't just a sponsorship activation. This was a recognition that Eala had become one of the faces of the partnership. The Eala Effect had already transformed the Canadian Open. Tickets for her opening match sold out within 30 minutes of being announced. Tournament director Carl Hale admitted, "We've never seen a player ranked outside the top 5 have this type of effect." The match was moved from the 2,800-seat grandstand to center court because Eala had sold upwards of 5,000 tickets on her own. The tournament added chicken adobo to the menu for the first time in its history. Jason Maglante, Tennis Canada's Senior Director of Ticket Sales and Services, projected that 8 out of 10 fans in the stadium could be of Filipino heritage. "I think it's awesome for the sport," Jessica Pagula had said of Eala's popularity. "She's able to draw these crowds and she's not even a top 5 player yet." But Eala's popularity goes beyond the numbers. It's about what she represents. A 21-year-old from a country that had never produced a tennis star of this magnitude. A woman who carries the hopes of a diaspora that spans the globe. A player who, when asked about her popularity, didn't talk about herself. She said, "I think the question should be rephrased as, what's it like to be Filipino?" In Toronto, she had proven that her success was not a fluke. She had avenged her Australian Open loss to Alicia Parks with a gritty 6-1, 4-6, 6-2 victory, advancing to the third round. She had become the first Filipino player to win a main draw match at the tournament. She had improved to 10-4 in 3-set matches at tour level this season and extended her streak to 10 consecutive wins when claiming the opening set. "It's been a crazy 24 hours, Eala had said. "My mind's just been going back and forth between focusing on the next match and, wow, did I really just do that?" But the craziest part of the story is that the phenomenon shows no signs of slowing down. The US Open looms on the horizon, the future is limitless, and Alex Eala is just getting started. What happens when a 21-year-old from Manila becomes the face of a global corporate partnership? What happens when a nation of 110 million people, a diaspora that spans the globe, and a sport that has been forever changed by her rise are all watching? And when Alex Eala steps onto the court at the US Open, will the world finally understand what the Philippines has always known? That she is not just a tennis player, she is a movement. The Mercedes-Benz VIP had come to watch. The corporate world had taken notice. But for Alex Eala, the journey was just beginning, and the world was watching to see how far she could go. Alex Eala has achieved what only Serena Williams has accomplished in the last 2 decades. Her opening match at the Canadian Open sold out in 30 minutes. A Mercedes-Benz VIP personally attended to watch her play. The tournament added chicken adobo to the menu, and Eala delivered a statement victory, avenging her Australian Open loss to Alicia Parks. The Eala Effect has crossed borders, and the world is watching to see how far she can go. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you the biggest stories in tennis, drama, and emotion every single week. Don't miss what happens next.